Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video on the very basics of UK pensions, so I thought I'd make an updated one for 2025. Even if you are a relative expert on how the whole pension system works, it's always a good idea from time to time to remind yourself of the basics. So let's dive in. First things first, what exactly is a pension? Well, in the UK, we tend to use the word very broadly to mean a way of saving and investing for the eventual day when you'll no longer be working. A pension is simply a source of your retirement income. But there are different types of pensions that come under this broad umbrella term, particularly in the UK, and this is where things can get complicated. Number 1, state pension. So the state pension is the government pension scheme that's available to you when you reach state pension age. It's currently 66, but it'll soon be increasing to age 67. The amount of state pension right now is currently £11,502 per year. It's increasing in April and is currently increasing every year in line with something called the triple lock. To qualify for full state pension, you need to have made 35 years of full national insurance contributions. If you've made less than 35 years contribution, then you'll get a proportionate lower amount of state pension. This is with the new state pension. The system prior to introduction of the new state pension is quite a bit more complicated, and the amount that you get will depend on whether or not you were opted out. I've made a more detailed video on this. There's a link in the video description that you can watch after this one if you want to. The important thing to point out with the state pension is that there is no personal pot of money set aside for you. For the people receiving state pension today, that's being paid for by people who are paying national insurance contributions today. And if you are not receiving the state pension right now, when you receive it in the future, people paying national insurance contributions at that point in time will be paying for your state pension. It's a pay-as-you-go taxation. I just wanted to make that clear because throughout the course of your working life, each of you watching will have paid very different amounts into the state pension, and you don't necessarily get back what you've put in. And bear in mind that the rules around the state pension, the eligibility, the age that you qualify, the amount that you get, that can change at any time. Successive governments can continue to make changes to the state pension, such that when you get there and you reach state pension age, it may not be as you've expected. Workplace pensions. Next, we have workplace pensions. If you are in a job employed by somebody else, your employer is legally obliged to provide you with a workplace pension, and that's where both you and your employer contribute to it. And there are two broad types of workplace pensions. The first one is called defined benefit, and the second is defined contribution. With a defined benefit pension, you will know the amount that you will eventually get. That will be guaranteed. The annual amount will be guaranteed. And these types of pensions used to be referred to as final salary pensions, are increasingly rare in the private sector and are pretty much exclusive now to the public sector. So people who work in the NHS, the police service, fire service, and so on. If you work in the private sector, these days your pension will be defined contribution. And that's where you will know how much you are contributing each month, so your contribution is defined, but the amount that you eventually get will be dependent on the amount that you are paying in and how much the investments that are made with your money grow over time. It's really important that you are clear on the various types of pensions that you have accumulated throughout your career, especially if you are in your 50s, and like a lot of people, if not most people, who reach their 50s and are only then starting to look at their pensions and thinking about when they might be able to retire. You need to be really clear on the different types of pensions that you have from the various employers that you might have worked for over the years. With a defined contribution pension pot, when you log onto the online portal with whoever your pension platform provider is, it will tell you the total amount that's in that pot, and that's the amount that you need to use to convert into income that will last you for your retirement. You can currently access your defined contribution pension pots from the age of 55, but this is soon also increasing to the age of 57. What you may not be aware of is that every time the state pension age increases, the age that you can access defined contribution pension pots also increases. And so when you can access your defined contribution pension and you want to take an income from it, you either convert it into something called a drawdown account, or you use the money to purchase a guaranteed income called an annuity. Or you can do a combination of both. Please, please, please don't make the mistake of mixing up defined contribution with defined benefit. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people think that their defined contribution number is the guaranteed amount that they will be getting per year when they retire. As I've said, when you log on to your defined contribution pension pot portal, and you may have several of them, it'll tell you the total amount in your pot. If you are seeing a figure of, say, £35,000, that's the total amount that you have in your pension. That is not the guaranteed annual amount that you will be getting. So please don't make that mistake. Self-invested personal pensions. So next, there's self-invested personal pensions. Now, these are suitable for those of you that are self-employed and don't have an employer to enrol you onto a workplace pension scheme. But these are also useful if you do have a workplace pension and perhaps you're not happy with the pension provider that your employer has given you. Because right now, as an employee, you have no choice over your workplace pension platform provider. In the future, that will hopefully change. But if you're not happy with who your employer uses, please don't opt out. Keep with that workplace pension because you are getting your employer's contribution. But if you wanted to make additional contributions, you could open a self-invested personal pension, or SIP for short, on the side. And you can either put extra money into that pension, or you could periodically move money over from your workplace pension into the SIP. And why would you want to do that? Well, perhaps the pension platform provider that your employer is using gives you a very limited choice of investments, and you want access to a broader choice of investments. You don't want to lose out on your employer's contribution, so you open this extra SIP, and periodically, with an admin timeframe that works for you, you can move the money over. How much can you pay in annually? So you can currently pay up to £60,000 per year into your defined contribution pension and receive tax relief. If you earn less than 60k a year, the maximum amount that you can contribute is equivalent to your annual salary. So that's 60k or your annual earnings, whichever is the lowest. And the annual allowance is a carry forward allowance for the past 3 years, meaning that if you haven't used up your annual allowance going 3 years back in the past, you can add extra in this current financial year. Why should I pay into a defined contribution pension? Now, the main reason that you should pay into a defined contribution pension is because of the tax efficiency. If you are a basic rate taxpayer, then every £100 that you pay in costs you just £80. If you are a higher rate taxpayer, then every £100 costs you just £60. So if you are in the extremely fortunate position of earning over £100,000 per year, and certainly if you are earning between 100 and 125,000, and you are therefore in that cliff edge taxation where you are losing your personal allowance, then contributing more to your pension not only sets you up for retiring either sooner or with more income than you would otherwise have had, but it also means that you get out of that horrible cliff edge taxation zone, because paying into your pension is an excellent way of reducing your taxable income. Yes, paying into your pension is a deferred form of taxation, but as I've covered in other videos, out of scope for this one, there are ways of being tax efficient in the decumulation phase when you're taking money back out again. Other things to consider. I've given a sweeping overview in this video of the very basics of UK pensions. I haven't touched upon some of the detail, such as the ability to take out 25% of a defined contribution as a tax-free lump sum, also known as the pension commencement lump sum. Again, I made other videos on questions to ask yourself about whether or not taking out that tax-free cash is right for you. And the final thing to bear in mind, which is on the more positive side, is that there is no longer a lifetime allowance. There used to be a cap on the amount that you could save into your pension schemes, and that was across all of your defined benefit as well as your defined contribution pensions. They were all included for purposes of this cap on the amount that you could save throughout your lifetime. And if you went beyond that, you would have additional tax penalties. That's no longer the case. However, the amount of tax-free cash that you can take is still capped at the level of 25% of the old lifetime allowance. Sorry if that sounds a bit complicated. Bear in mind that you can put an unlimited amount into your pension now, but the amount of tax-free cash you can take, that's still capped. I hope you have found this summary of the UK pension system useful and informative. Thank you so much to all you existing subscribers. If you're not already a subscriber, and particularly if this is perhaps the first of my videos that you've ever watched, the YouTube algorithm is so helpful. It would now present you with my videos irrespective of whether or not you have subscribed. But it really helps me out if you just take a second to click that subscribe button. It's completely free. Thank you so much. Until next time, hwyl fawr am y tro.